Gone in London, December 3rd, 2008, my longer video all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour, workaholic for those 35 years, and probably at the extremes of living, either at highs or lows. And sometimes there were spectacular highs in my careers, and also spectacular lows when I crashed out with a nervous breakdown, having burnt out. What an admission to make, but you know, sometimes a nervous breakdown is required, a breakdown in where we are, so that we can then relearn how to live life maybe in a different way. And gently, and very, very gently, over the last few years, I've been learning what it's like to live in recovery from addiction, or to be a recovering alcoholic. The gift, if you like, is to try and find this extraordinary place called normal. And as the programme is there to promote a bridge back to modern life, I feel it's done more than that. It's more than gone back to modern living. It's actually gone back to a different way of living completely. And the reasons for that, well, sometimes we need to leave careers which are causing us so much internal pain and heartache that we break down and we burn out, that it's better to do something completely different. And these days I'm concentrating on more interesting pursuits for me, back to where I was originally thinking of starting my career, which was writing and photography. So I'm doing broadcasting here on YouTube, so I get extra benefits of just living a new life, one day at a time. And the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is that which keeps me going. And at the meetings I go to, and all I know is meetings, I don't really go into the politics of AA, if in fact there are any, or whether it's dogma or cult. All I know is brainwashed me, or washed out the old me, and enabled me to build a new life. And what is AA? We say this preamble at every meeting we go to, and it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes in any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety, and the reason why I'm smiling somewhat in that, AA is not about politics, organisations or institution, does not engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes, but you can guarantee that every single member or fellow of AA has a voice and is unique and authentic in their voice on the planet, and they do support all sorts of different causes and do things which are completely outside the fellowship of AA. AA is the mainstay of sobriety, and sobriety, once maintained on a daily basis, affords us the luxury of making a mess of everything else all over again, or going back to something which is good for us and leaving something which is bad for us, and that is the obsessive self-willed behaviour of drinking to obliterate our successes or our failures. So 12 steps of action for people and 12 traditions which keep us in a fellowship working for one purpose only, to share the message. So this is what I do. I share the message here on YouTube, and you know, it's of critical importance sometimes to me to be in a meeting with people who are coming back, and you know, with the credit crunch that's going on across the world, a lot of people have been out there sampling and researching yet again, because life has got very unmanageable and horrible, and they've lost everything, or they've lost significantly, and they can see no way out. And obviously when we are at the extreme of our behaviour in terms of wanting to put things right, we are at our most vulnerable to try and take the edge off in some way. So how do I take the edge off sometimes the harsh parts of life? It's understanding the philosophy of acceptance, accepting what is today. And I can do that with a clear conscience and a clear heart, that I've done my best to do whatever I can to make life work. And not just for myself, but for those around me as well, to be a part of family, to be a part of community and a part of society. And giving back is always good, because if we give, then we also are open to receive. And one of the profound things that alcoholics know is that when you're in the frustrating place of being completely dependent on the booze, nothing else will get through to us. And that not being able to take on advice or understanding from others makes us even more difficult. It pushes us into isolation, and in the grip of a calamity, we find it very hard to get out of. And yesterday, I went to one meeting in the evening, and I can't say where it was, it would be unfair. There were a couple of people coming back, having been out to see what life was like, drinking again, and the difficulty they found was how to stop. And they had for a little while, and they suddenly realised, well, there is only way to sort this out, is to come back to a meeting, admit what has happened, be open, honest and willing to try and endeavour again and make that change. And, you know, AA is not the only way to get sober, but it seems the only way that keeping sober for me. So my story included medical professional help as well, to get me well enough to actually get into the fellowship. You know, I was very, very ill, and I had had the last rites, which at the time made me very angry, because I'm not a Catholic, and the priest who came to do it said, "Don't be so fussy." And, you know, there's false bravado in me. I just left it off, but I was lying in my own blood when I was saying it. Ooh, that was a terrible time. And, you know, I do have to reflect on those things, you know, where I've come from, and the awfulness of all of that. And, you know, being on intensive care wards is no fun. Even at the time I joked about it, and it's making me think. So when people come back, and there was a person sitting to me actually leaning on me and smelling heavily of alcohol, and I think he'd probably eaten a garlic bulb, not an actual, just a small segment, a whole bulb of garlic. And it didn't matter. What mattered most is that they were in the meeting and they were sharing what had happened to them, and other people shared what had happened to them in their darkest days. And it's not just all about the harshness. We can laugh about it in some ways, because sometimes it's the gallows humour that we get. And by the end of the meeting, there was an understanding that they had come back to the right place to actually get the message of hope, experience, strength and hope. And in this 24-hour day book, which I often read, it's not authorised by AA, nor are my videos. I speak for myself, I don't speak for AA here. But I can share that AA works for me on a daily basis. It says for December the 3rd, there is some alcoholic thought, conscious or unconscious, that comes before every slip. As long as we live, we must be on the guard or lookout for such thoughts and guard against them. In fact, our AA training is mostly to prepare us to make ready to recognise such thoughts at once and to reject them at once. The slip comes when we allow such thoughts to remain in our minds, even before we actually go through the motions of lifting the glass to our lips. The AA program is largely one of mental training. How well is my mind prepared? And some people would say, well, you're brainwashed into the dogma of AA and not drinking one day at a time. Well, you know what? I'm really glad that I have been and had my brain washed gradually and carefully into finding a way to live life with emotional, physical and spiritual improvement on a daily basis. And as Bill sees it, this one, there's a daily reading, and this one is page 301, to rebuild security. In our behaviour respecting financial and emotional security, fear, greed, possessiveness and pride have too often done their worst. Surveying his business or employment record, almost any alcoholic can ask questions like these. In addition to my drinking problem, what character defects contributed to my financial instability? Did fear and inferiority about my fitness for my job destroy my confidence and fill me with conflict, or did I overvalue myself and play the big shot? Businesswomen in AA will find these questions often apply to them too, and the alcoholic housewife can also make the family financially insecure. Indeed, all alcoholics need to cross-examine themselves ruthlessly to determine how their own personality defects have demolished their security. And I don't know that I ever worked out where I felt secure. And the gift is, for me these days, I can be sure today, if I keep to the program, I'm likely to have a sober day where my emotional, spiritual and physical well-being can be maintained as best they can, given nature and providence and where I am in my life.